Greetings, fellow citizens of the Imperium. I am Brother Jonas Rogel, and this is the first episode of the Astartes podcast. Today, my guest is fellow Brother Michael of the Blood Raven Space Marine chapter.
Greetings, Imperial citizens and fellow Astartes brothers.
We will also be joined today by my editor, Magos Davin from the Forge world of Hailsmar.
I am honored to be on such a broadcast.
So, Brother Michael, I've been hearing a lot of rumors about these lost Primarchs, and that people who have been talking about it have gone missing. What's your input on that?
You see, Brother Jonas, the documents explaining these lost Primarchs is considered highly classified by the current administration of the Inquisition.
Okay, now I've been hearing about how the Inquisition has been involved with these disappearances, but what evidence do you have that can prove this theory?
Well, I speak from personal experience, of course. After all, I am the one who found the documents and released them to the public.
Wait, you stole the documents?
Correct. Although its apprehension wasn't intentional, as we mistook the documents as a chapter relic aboard an Inquisition ship.
Okay, but why an Inquisition vessel? Why not a space Hulk or lost base?
The fact that you're asking such a ludicrous question only highlights your ignorance, Brother Jonas. If these documents were aboard a space Hulk or an abandoned base, like you said, they'd be susceptible to capture by either Xenos or heretics.
Okay, well, why would the Inquisition hide such important information from the public?
Well, I think it's self-evident. Have you read the documents?
No, I have only skimmed through the summary.
Lucky for you, I happen to bring a copy of the documents with me. Shall I relay to you the details?
All right, you may begin.
Okay, Magos Davin, could you please pull up the PDF file I sent to you earlier?
Confirmed. Accessing file now.
Thank you. Now, you see here, and I quote, "The whereabouts of the Primarchs of the 2nd and 11th Legions are currently unknown to all but the Emperor himself. But with what little evidence we have been able to analyze from post-heresy documents, we have devised two separate theories on how these Primarchs and their respective legions were wiped from the historical record."
Okay, well, what are the theories?
Well, the first theory discusses how the missing Primarchs could have been potentially killed during the Rangdan Xenocides.
The Rangdan Xenocides, I've heard about it faintly, and I know that it occurred during the Great Crusade, but do we know exactly what happened?
That's the funny thing, Jonas. There is little mention about the Rangdan Xenocides within pre-heresy documents, and the very little details that have been found only speak about how catastrophic the campaign was.
What do you mean by catastrophic, like as in high casualties or something else?
The casualties that our forefathers took in this campaign were extremely high. At the time of the Great Crusades, the Dark Angels Legion had the highest number of Astartes compared to the other legions. The documents talk about how their casualties were so high that when the missing Primarchs died, a majority of their Astartes were transferred to either the Dark Angels or Ultramarines.
So you're telling me that there are potential Dark Angels or Ultramarines who have missing Primarch gene seed?
I cannot confirm that theory, since no one has conducted such a study, but it is possible if provided the necessary resources.
Okay, well, what's the second theory stated in the document?
Okay. Davin, scroll down to page 5 of the document, please. Thank you. Ah, there it is. The second theory is, and I quote, "The second possibility theorized for the whereabouts of the missing Primarchs is their eradication by fellow Imperial forces, though which Primarch and Space Marine Legion who conducted the Purge is unknown. Although it is potentially the fault of the Space Wolves, led by Leman Russ."
Okay, wait, the Space Wolves? What is their reasoning for that accusation?
The accusation is a mere assumption, based on one of the many titles given to Leman Russ, the Emperor's executioner.
Okay, you see, to me, that seems like a bit of a stretch. To draw such a conclusion from a mere title. That's like saying Angron was a maniac due to his title of the Red Angel.
Okay, first off, that segment about Angron has to be the most brain-dead thing I have ever heard you say. As for Leman Russ, it was well documented that the Emperor sent the Primarch to personally kill enemy champions. It was also mentioned that when Leman Russ was interviewed by one of his remembrancers about the missing Primarchs, where it was noted that he refused to respond to the question and left the interview.
Upon further analysis of the document, I believe I have found an interesting connection between these two theories.
Okay then, Davin, let us hear your theory.
Upon further review of the document, I have noticed a name that has come up multiple times regarding the missing Primarchs, that name being Malcador the Sigillite. It is potentially possible that Malcador may have been responsible for the final fates of these missing Primarchs. Although whether or not Malcador approved the wiping of the missing Primarchs from the historical record, I cannot confirm nor deny, for there is very little evidence beyond that. Also, as we have been recording audio for this podcast, I have detected several breaches of entry within sections 3, 6, and 5 of the facility. Probability: Inquisition forces.
Davin, are we gonna fucking die?
We should be fine for the time being. Thomas from accounting is holding their forces off.
Who the fuck are you to tell us where and where we cannot go?
Come on, guys. You should have called in advance. You can't breach their room during the recording session. Who do you guys think you are anyways?
We're the fucking Inquisition.
And what gives you the right to barge into their recording session?
It's our entire damn job.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, Chief. You're gonna have to sit down and wait until the recording session ends, and that should be, give or take 20 minutes?
Ugh.
Well, for the first time in this entire recording session, it seems Brother Jonas has done something meaningful.
Don't push your luck right now.
Well, thank you for inviting me here for the podcast. You don't, happen to have a window to jump out of so I can escape, right?
Yeah, there's a window in the hallway we can all jump out of.
I shall take time to evacuate equipment then and move to a potential new area for podcasting. I shall leave the outro to you, Brother Jonas.
Okay, well that's the first episode of the podcast. See you soon if I manage to escape Inquisition authorities at least.